Today we have Craig with us, and he is in the French Resistance with us. Is that really true that you're in the French Resistance?
Kinda. It would be the Free French. Be a different force outside of the actual continental France, under de Gaulle.
What would you call your impression?
So the impression would be the Special Air Service, the SAS. So there was 5 regiments, and you ended up having 2 of them as French. So the 4th SAS is the one that we're representing.
So when did you first get started with this impression?
It's been roughly about 4 or 5 years ago. So I came to D-Day, saw French resistance civilians, and I realized we probably needed more like military representation.
How'd you go about researching your kit and portrayal when you first started? And even now, so how do you continue improving too? So it's a twofold question.
So there are some British Commonwealth type of books that have a lot of information for the foreign troops, the French, for example. So with that was English translated. After that, we realized that there was an issue that not too much was translated. So we had to find the French books, network with the actual people that do it in Brittany, for example, for the 4th SAS, and start translating. Google Translate's really good, and you got to speak. It would be nice to speak some level of French to make sure the Google Translate works. But after enough translation, you're going to get a lot of information to use.
Where do you usually go to find parts for your kit, material, or anything you use for your impression?
Usually go to What Price Glory, Soldier of Fortune, or France eBay. And you pretty much can find it. It's not too hard. It's more about knowing how it's a little bit of a nuance compared to the regular airborne for the British.
What is the most challenging part of your kit to put together?
Probably the most challenging would be the M1A1 carbine. Is very expensive. So you may be able to find it, but can you afford it? So I think a lot of it is pretty simple.
So any advice you give to someone who wants to do your impression, like what would you tell them? What's your nugget of wisdom for them?
So I think it's easy to learn American history, but we kind of know that by default watching TV and movies. So a situation, I would prefer actually learning German prior to American, just so I learn a new point of view. So now the French is just a story that's not told. So with that, I think it's recommended to kind of open your eyes to a new point of view. So the French is just so diverse, so complicated.
Past 2 years, we've had very unusual weather. Strong winds and everything. This year's been beautiful. What did you learn from your kit? How did it hold up to the wind for if someone's coming here to an event like this? What have you learned from that?
Well, I think just realizing wool is your friend. You know, sometimes in the nice weather, summer, hot, it can be bad, but overall it's going to keep you alive. The Denizen smock, I'm not entirely sure if it was waterproofed. I don't think so, but we did in the modern era, like now, I did waterproof it, so it does help. So overall, you're going to be uncomfortable. It is what it is, and just realize that it's only temporary, so dry off your stuff. But at an event, do the best you can with waterproofing. I know the ponchos, shelter, whatever you may have, make sure it's waterproof, and you'll have a much more comfortable experience.
Based on that, how would you view what they would have experienced on June 6th with the bad weather?
Just realize that whatever you're doing is short term, so just experience whatever suck you may go through, and then at the end of the day, you're going to be able to change and go home. But you're going to be able to understand and respect a little bit more of the impression of the people that you're here representing. So I think just go full into it and realize that eventually you're going to go home. But some of these guys, they were stuck with those clothes for weeks, months, for a long time, and that was in essence, their home.
This is a very popular question that I get a lot, is how do you know you've been hit in a battle?
So if we're doing a reenactment battle scenario, you could, in different scenarios, stay alive, depending on your responsibility level. But eventually, depending on how long it is, if someone is point blank pointing at you, shooting, just take the hit. And the whole idea is not so much for you, it's for the audience to realize, get a little taste of what happened at that time.
With how you do a lot of the planning for our battles and how they work out and coordinating with the Germans on how that goes, there's also something tied to how you script it be historical. Like, hey, so many people need to take casualties or something like that.
So we have different scenarios that we're trying to replicate, primarily for the audience's understanding, the visitor understanding. So yeah, we do have to coordinate on both sides. Who's going to really survive? How long they're going to stay in the battlefield? Are they going to run, retreat? Are they going to surrender? So there's a lot of factors to think about. And a lot of us don't necessarily have the money to have the battle last forever. So it has to be a thing that we're giving that little few minute type of feel for the scenario they went through. And hopefully we can make them understand that, this was very bad.
Something I wanted to touch on right there too is at least for my rifles, it's $1 a blank pretty much. I don't know what that comes out for the M1 carbine that is being used?
Roughly similar. I think all brass, all blanks are getting really, really expensive. So it's also a situation that you want to not just waste. You know, if you're shooting, you want to make sure that it's actually, there's a point behind it. So shoot, but eventually stop, because we all have to, you know, we got to pay for these blanks.
All right, that wraps up Craig's insights on how he got started with his impression, the gear, and what it takes to bring history to life through these reenactments. Even though he is not here with me for this, I really appreciate the time he spent with me talking through all this at the event. Here's something to think about. When portraying a historic unit, what do you think is most important? Balance between accuracy or practicality? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and stick around as we build together a better picture of those who served during World War II and changed the course of the war here on Brave Builds.